Hey, you guys. Welcome to another episode of Five Lemons Laughing. I'm Amanda. I'm here with Penny, Drusilla, Melissa, and Morgan. And you might have noticed we didn't start this episode by laughing because we're diving into something really serious today. It seems like every day now, another story breaks about girls, women, children being trafficked, being used, being silenced. And it's all coming to light. People are being named. Stuff is happening. Emotions are being stirred. We're in a world right now where the shadows are loud. And how do we hold rage, grief, and faith and unconditional love at the same time? How do we become willing to hold the space of a divine being in this turmoil? So, Morgan, I'm going to pass it to you.
Thank you for that introduction and for setting the tone for this discussion. It's a little different lane for us today, but it feels timely and important and relevant. So we are having a human experience. So let's talk about some of what's being experienced as humans right now. We talked last episode about corruption, exposure, and how we as spiritual people are supposed to show up for all of this. Do we just light a candle or send thoughts and prayers and then otherwise just keep scrolling past all the chaos that we're seeing in the news and on the world stage? So those were some of the things we kind of got into last week. And it was a really rich conversation. If you feel inspired to go back and check that one out, it leads into this one. We realized that we really only barely scratched the surface and we didn't really get to, with the release of the Epstein files, and other stuff. I mean, that's just part of it, but all of the women's and children's victimization, sex trafficking, all the ways that really the feminine has been used and silenced for such a long time. And it's just really coming to light in a strong, powerful, sometimes overwhelming way right now. So we're kind of zooming in to focus on that. So we're going to talk about the violence against women and all of this abuse that is being brought to light right now, and how we can respond to all of this in a way that's rooted in love, not fear. That really is, bringing it back to focus to what we are all about, but also making it very practical with what's happening right now. How do we honor trauma while also holding the truth? So, Melissa?
Thank you. Of course, I knew this topic was coming up. So I just have this word powerless. Like I was feeling powerless. Like, what do I do with the honesty of what is going on in the world? Like, honesty is not like spiritual bypassing, like it's meant to be, it's in the universe's plan, but like really honoring the fear it brings up and the powerlessness it brings up. And I really just wanted to talk some truths before we get into this. So I added this section to the intro because I felt like we needed to, you know me, we're going to accept this is happening. We need to see that it really is, and accept that this is happening in our life right now. Violence against women is not rare, and it's not new, and it's not random. Violence against women has been patterned across time and cultures and systems. And what we're seeing now is not the beginning of something. It's actually more of an exposure to something that's always been there. And what's being exposed is, on social media and everything, we're seeing what's underneath victimization. And that is a power structure. So power protects itself, and powerful people get protected. And our systems protect power before they protect the truth of what is happening. So culturally in our world, dominance is still rewarded. You can see it in our political figures, who we decided to not look at anyone's past and nominate someone for president that literally has a trail of women behind him. Misogynistic social media posts. Right now, there's a Netflix series, Manosphere, I think it is. It is so hard to watch because
disturbing.
These are young men perpetuating women being things, not people, serving them, being there for their use, and men. It's disturbing to see how many other young men celebrate these men as like figures that they look up to, and it's all about dominance and over women, and the rise, or at least the exposure of racism. So when power and dominance exist together, harm against women will continue. So men will still want to dominate, and they'll still be protected because they're in powerful positions to protect the system. And what is being exposed now is millennia of conditioning, entitlement, and systems that normalize, again, just like that social media, or just like that Netflix series, it normalizes control over women. And not only normalizes it, it promotes it. So this is the part I really feel strongly about. This does bring up fear, and women know this in their bodies. And we know safety is never guaranteed. So speaking up costs something, usually. And systems don't always protect us. We know this. But clarity matters. Being honest and real matters. And if we minimize or look away, it will continue. So we can stay aware of what is real without collapsing, hardening, or turning away. And we may feel powerless, but we are not. And not all of us are activists, but we can do something every day to stand up for this violence. The first step is to face it. That's acceptance. And then we can, in this series or in this episode, we could talk about what we do next and what would courage have us do. So let's open it up.
I'm just taking some notes on what you said because there were some powerful gems in there.
Yes,
So-
I just want to say that I did watch that documentary, Manosphere, and I had no clue that movement was a thing. It talked about also how those group of men, and I'm sure that was just a few of them, actually influenced our last election. I knew about the wave of young college students, male college students, who went from voting one way to another, but I didn't really know what was behind that movement. And this documentary actually exposed some of that. So that was definitely new to me. But great opening, Amanda, Morgan, and Melissa. It's just put a lot on me to kind of like digest. So I'm going to stop right now and kind of, wait till later on to say some things that I'm feeling. So I'll kick it off to Penny.
Oh my God, you had to do that, didn't you? This is such I don't know. I do know. It's a topic that has been weighing pretty heavy on my mind too. I mean, I've had situations that have happened to me that I just kind of let go of and didn't do anything about it when it comes to, I'll just say it. I was date raped. And I just thought, you don't say anything. You just let it go and you just kind of stay away from that person. But I don't even know that I stayed away from that person, which is kind of interesting. Oh, but that was a long time ago. But I think what this whole topic brings up for me is just there's so much going on in this world right now that I used to say at the beginning of 2025 that it was unbelievable what was going on. And now I say that it's outrageous because it's happening right in front of our eyes. All of this cover up, all of this just hiding the truth of what's really in the Epstein files, what's really going on in this administration, yeah. And I recently listened to an Oprah podcast, and she had the woman, I can't think of her name right now, that was caught on the Jumbotron at the Coldplay concert. And it was her only interview she did about the whole thing. Oprah got the exclusive, which I think was really great because Oprah is such a wonderful person for women. And what she shared is that it wasn't men that came after her, it was women. Mm. And so I think if we're going to change this narrative, we got to start with women. She said the women have been horrible, death threats, calling her a homewrecker, all this stuff. And really horrible stuff. Like I think she even had to change her phone number because all this stuff got leaked. But she really was saying it's the women that were the most horrific to her. And so, that's not probably what we were going to talk about today, but I think that's where we need to start is women need to band together and, work together to correct this until I think women become a cohesive group. Mm-hmm. This stuff is just going to continue on.
Yeah. I think we are moving in that direction, and we have to consider that we've been in a patriarchal society for thousands of years. It's kind of like the whole, why would minorities and women vote for the Trump administration? But they do.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. There's been some brainwashing. There's eons of undoing to be done. And also we can reach that point of critical mass where enough of us get there, enough of us, open our eyes and recognize the way forward, and we bring everyone collectively along with us. So I want to say that from a space of hope and optimism and knowing I feel that we are shifting.
There's something like 3%, only 3% of people have to make a change to shift, everyone. It's something so low, it's out of control.
I think it's 1% of the population.
Is it?
It's something like that.
It's so low.
Yeah.
It's so doable. But I do think I've had plenty of times when I have been around men or male family members, and there's a demeaning joke against a woman or, and I've laughed through it. it's just what I grew up. That's how I grew up. That was I fit in that way. But that's one of the things I don't need to do anymore. I don't need to be okay with locker room talk. And it's not locker room talk. It's words against women. And it just go ahead.
What would you do if that were to happen today? I think this is very practical, grounded. Yeah. Not that we want to get in the mode of giving advice, but I personally would like to know, what is a real strategy when faced with a situation like that to maintain our dignity and our grace and not okay with me clarity. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's exactly what I've been saying. That's not okay. Yeah. With my husband and my kids, 2 boys who are all wonderful people, but they're males in the society that, again, just what I was saying, it's the power protects them. Their maleness, whiteness, whatever it is, protects them from being someone else than in the group of that person, or, that group that can do that and are protected. I've been starting to say, that's not okay. Please don't say that. That is not okay here.
Yes. Good for you.
But that's just starting
here. Yeah. It is, but it's a start, right?
Yeah.
And I've had to do the same. And what comes to mind for me is R. Kelly, which was one of the ones that's been 6-8 years ago or something. And still to this day, I'm in circles where people will want to play his music as if it's, okay. And every single time I say it's not okay with me
Yeah.
and I don't want to hear it. And the way I approach it is we all have mothers, sisters, and daughters. And we you know, want to play his music if someone in our family was impacted by what he was doing and everything that he believed in. And I said, it's a pendulum that has to swing, right? Like we as women and me as a black female, a double minority, we were born into the victim mentality. So just like you said, Penny, yeah, the shift is also for us. But for men, they have the power, they have more power to help us shift, which is the conversation I have to my husband. Like, you're standing up for your sisters, you're standing up for your wife, you're standing up for your daughters. And he was one of the ones that thought, okay, yeah, the man did this, but he's a musical genius and he loved his music. So I had to have this conversation in my household.
Mm-hmm.
So now we stand for it wherever we go and they play his music. It's like, no, we don't want to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
I think
And
that's
that's
so
just
important.
an example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think it's an important one because we think we have a mentality that we just generally as the population have the mentality that who am I? What can I accomplish? And that keeps us self-defeated. And collectively, if we all do what we can, when we can, how we can, where we can, that is where we have power. And like we have to start holding people accountable for their actions. And we have to put our money where our mouth is. And, the entertainment industry was implicated. The banking industry was implicated. The Food and Drug Administration, the food industry was implicated. All of these big industries were implicated. And, people are still out there buying trusted household brands and, paying their taxes and banking with the big banks. And, we can't, we're so heavily interwoven into these systems that we can't just full stop everything at once. But, we can stop listening to R. Kelly. We can stop watching Woody Allen films, or, you know what I'm saying? Like we can do small things that create a tidal wave of a change. And we have to be willing to take some personal risks if we want to change. No revolution was ever won by people just doing the same old thing that they've always done.
Have you guys heard of the 100th monkey phenomenon?
No, but I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah. And so it might be a myth, but it's got a great story. And it originated in Japan, and it was this island, Kamosha Island. And the scientists put sweet potatoes on the beach for the monkeys that lived on that island. And it was only inhabited by these monkeys. And they just wanted to see what the monkeys would do with the sweet potatoes. They had no idea what sweet potatoes were. They'd never had sweet potatoes. And so they watched them, and they came back the next year, and they noticed that one female monkey, she was about 18 months old. She had taken the sweet potatoes, and they were covered in sand, and she had taken them and washed off the sand and then realized they were really good. And so she decided to start eating the sweet potatoes. And then pretty soon other monkeys joined her. And pretty soon the whole island was washing their sweet potatoes and eating them. And then they started dipping them in the ocean to get salt on them, because they noticed that the salt tasted pretty good too on their sweet potatoes. But what was really amazing is it didn't stop there. It's all about the collective consciousness. They noticed on other islands where the monkeys had never even known that you could wash sweet potatoes, they started washing the sweet potatoes. And so it started to spread without them even knowing it. So it's all about the collective consciousness. So I think what you're saying, Drusilla, about not listening to RK or R. Kelly, is that, it has to begin with me, right? It has to begin with me. And so by you doing that, who knows how many other people in your sphere of influence and even outside of your sphere of influence are doing the same thing. And so that's, I think that's a really powerful. We just have no idea how we can influence change if we just stick to our guns, I guess.
Yes.
Better
And
term.
it does happen in the invisible. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I believe that probably is a true story, because I remember when my husband started his recycling business 10 years ago, however long ago it was, all of a sudden there were 2 other businesses being started in our same town at the same time. And we were like, oh my God, why is this happening? And I looked it up, and there is a phenomenon of inventions happening in different places across the globe before, like, widespread telecommunications were available around the same time frame. I mean, this is a known thing that happens. And there was also a study, like the New York Times crossword puzzle, they get it first in Europe because of the time zone, and they completed it at a slower rate than America, who got it, some 7 hours later, because the answers were already like completed. So there is like lots of studies and things that have looked into this concept you're describing. Yes. So don't sell ourselves short is the message. Like, don't diminish the power that our choices, our thoughts, our behaviors have on influencing the world.
Yeah. How about you, Amanda? What are you thinking?
I think during what's going on, I don't feel disempowered at all. I feel very empowered because it is coming to light.
Yeah.
I don't agree with blaming the administration. I don't agree with that. That is like one step too far, thinking that Trump is the reason for this or is perpetuating that. That's one step too far for me. And at the same time, I feel very empowered in what we're talking about, because this is what I say all the time. It's about cleaning up what's in my sphere, in my household, in my community. Because Penny, like you, in college, like, I can't remember what happened because of being blackout drunk, and then later on getting blamed for stuff that I don't remember. And I never would have labeled it as date rape, but that has to be what it is. So it has happened to me, and I never would have talked about it before. So I feel like it is empowering. And to have it finally hitting the news, like, there's no more cover-ups. There's no place to hide. The shadows are coming to light. And I think it's an amazing place to be. And also part of me wants to really give the world permission to stop being a victim. I didn't watch that Netflix series, but something about that feels like it's taking the power from women, right? I know that's
literally. Yeah.
But I think each individual woman has the power to stand up. Each individual woman gets a chance to decide. I know before we came on, we were talking about a woman that was drugged, right? That was that was a decision taken away. So I do not want to minimize when decisions are taken away, right? That's something different. But as a collective, as a group of powerful women looking to change, saying that just because a man wants to hold women down, like, I so strongly believe that women are saying no to that it's a shifting dynamic.
I still think, and I hear what you're saying, Amanda, and I think there is a portion of the population that has the power to do that, but there's also a portion of the population that doesn't even know they have that power. And that's the women that I think I need to focus on, is like how to help them become empowered to know that they have choice. I mean, I'm in 12-step recovery, and we come into the rooms thinking we have no choices. No choices at all.
Mhm.
And so maybe that's it for me. I mean, I'm just kind of processing what you said, Amanda, and it's just kind of coming to me like, yeah, how do we reach those people that think that they do have power but don't know it, or help them to realize they have power when they don't know it?
Great
And
points.
I think too, like, I don't think we need to be blaming. I don't even think like this administration is not what we're angry at. I think it is this administration, the politics happening now, is an example of um, the system, that's in place where we can make a difference. Like when I think of, oh my God, how do I stand up to the bazillion men who go to Thailand for the sex industry? Right. And because I think if there was no Johns, there'd be no prostitution or there'd be no violence against women unless there were men doing it. And we're always focused on these, like, let's lock up the prostitutes, not the Johns.
Yeah.
And so, and it never makes sense to me. So I don't think like me thinking, how am I supposed to stand up to all these big bad men? That's not the point here. And the point is also that you can make a difference in the power system that we have in our society. Like, you can vote for people who haven't been accused of rape. You can really look at people's backgrounds. Are they civil servants? Or where do they come from? What do they do? You can make decisions like that, and you can see it as a power structure problem. And how can you make a difference in the power structure? How can you not look away when people are expressing truths just because it's hard, or it's makes you uncomfortable or makes you feel powerless? I think, like, for me, it's just looking at it as the power structure in our society makes it more manageable for me to participate in doing something different than just shutting down because it's such this huge boulder I have to push up the hill or something. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's okay that both of what Amanda is saying and both of what you're saying, Melissa, can be true, and both are happening. I think that the exposure to the systems and the powers at play are being exposed and being destroyed, basically. And I do think at the same time, women, because of platforms like ours and so many more out there, thank God,
Mm-hmm.
are showing or teaching women how to maintain their power.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've said before on this podcast that we do have to accept that trauma in all the situations happened way before these particular men came to play. The trauma is in that we, as little girls, children, whatever, somewhere along the way, we were taught not to be valued or not to value ourselves, or that the power wasn't within us. So a part of the lesson is what we're doing is to bring awareness that you do have the power, right? So for every little girl that experienced trauma outside of herself, her family unit, we know that the trauma began at home somewhere, somehow, and that's not necessarily blaming. That's the reality of human nature. So I think it's important what both of you said, that we bring attention to, yes, the powers that are victimizing, and also the victims, bringing awareness to not to give away your power, because even some of the victims, I can imagine that even with myself, of course, I've been a victim of, someone attempting to kidnap me at 12 years old, attempted rape at 17, it's a lot. But I can imagine that there are people who have been victims that are not as fortunate as I am to be aware of that victimization and continuing to carry that, into their relationships, into their marriages. So I think it's important that we talk about it from both angles.
Yeah.
Well said, Drusilla. It's not a one-sided thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I see happening, I personally, I know everything can be used for good or for evil, but I personally am grateful to be alive during the information age and having access. I mean, on some level, we all have access to all the information in the universe, but we seem to have some restrictions and constraints in our human experience. And what I'm seeing, and I know that with social media, there's always algorithms at play and it shows you more of what you seem to be interested in. But that is also a law of the universe. That is also quantum physics. And what I'm seeing on TikTok is, when men behave badly, they get called out and that shit is not tolerated. And they get ripped a new one in the comments by men and women. And what I'm seeing is when men act loving and respectful of women is they get celebrated in the comments and they're like, where's green flag guy? We need green flag guy to come over and do a post about this guy. And what I'm seeing is, when women are taken by their boyfriends on a hike and then abandoned in the woods or taken to some perilous situation as a joke, they also get ripped a new one in the comments. All of these behaviors that have been tolerated for centuries and not been called out for what they are being called out now, are not being tolerated. I'm seeing more and more and more and more of that. And I don't think that we would have seen that even 10 years ago. So I feel that there's promise and there's hope and that we are shifting as a collective.
That's a really great story, Morgan. I love that. It's like, what we focus on multiplies. So I love that people are focusing on the good things and calling out the shit, or my perceived shit that you were talking about. Yeah. Yeah. It's a big topic.
Yeah. And it's easy to call it out on TikTok. It's harder to do what Melissa described when it's a family member or it's in a group conversation in person. That can bring up a sense of unsafety.
Yeah.
I think that also brings up a point, Morgan, is that what we're seeing and what we're focused on is all of the bad behavior, which I'm so glad that is happening, right? Because sunshine is the best disinfectant. And if I just look at my surroundings, there are more good men in my surroundings than just, perverts, pedos. So I'm glad we're looking at it. I'm glad we're doing this. And also, I like the fact that men are being celebrated for being responsible men. I mean, that's important because the role model, just like that Netflix show, which I don't have Netflix, but eventually I'll have it again and I'll watch it. But that is a minority. And if men's role models, there's different categories, there's a large population of men are positive role models and Hollywood or, whatever. I mean, there's light being shown on a smaller demographic. And I think that it's shifting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or I would like to believe it is shifting.
Yeah. I think it is too. I think more and more people are refocusing where the attention goes versus victim shaming, victim blaming. It even goes back to the way women dress and are taught to be modest. And we are fucking goddesses. We're gorgeous. And if I fucking want to walk around naked, then I should be able to without being afraid that I'm going to be raped because I'm inviting it. I should be able to celebrate my body and that not equate an invitation.
Mhm.
And I have seen people on the internet say, you know, how would you dress if there were no men on the planet? And all of the comments are like, oh my gosh, I would wear the most gorgeous clothes. I would be so sexy and sensual and beautiful. Like, we are not dressing for men, and it is not an invitation to, you know, have your way with us. And when we start redirecting the focus of, instead of why would she dress like that, she must be needing attention, to why would they be like thinking that they have permission to do whatever they want to do with her. I don't know. I'm not being very articulate, but
No, you're being very articulate, Morgan. Very articulate. I agree with what you're saying. Yeah. Let it begin with us, right? Let it begin with me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do our part in our slice of the universe. Looks like you're in a nice backyard where you could walk around naked to practice, Morgan.
Yeah. I love what Melissa said, right? Like, just having that conversation. Because, like, I know when my husband tells jokes, probably within the last couple of years, I just, that's not funny, right? Like, just that's it. That's not funny.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we probably could keep on and on and on, right? Any final thoughts? Anything that has come to your mind that you really want our listeners to take home with them and practice over the next week before we get together again?
Well, I just kind of want to recap. So, if, like what you said, Penny, if you don't realize you have choices, we were talking about some choices that you could, we do have a choice. Exactly. Morgan was talking about using your money as a way to make things happen, to support what you want to support or not support what you want to not support. I talked about like the power structure and politics and people we nominate. We do have the power. If you're not watching this on YouTube, every time I'm saying something, Penny's lifting up a Post-it because she wrote it. And Drusilla was saying, like, stand up for what you believe in. If you, just because everybody wants to listen to R. Kelly, but you don't want to support that, don't let that happen. And Amanda and Penny saying what we focus on, what
multiplies.
Was it? Multiplies.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And Amanda was talking about, being just inherently being confident and being self-loving and having the confidence. What was exactly the word? It wasn't confidence, Amanda. It's like you were talking about being empowered. Yes. And knowing you're not a victim. So I think there's a lot to chew on here for like things you can do. And Penny's next post is celebrate the men that are positive role models. So why don't you recap, Penny?
That's it. You did it. You did it so well, Melissa. I just love how you recapped it and how we were pretty much on track.
Yeah.
I love it. Collective consciousness.
Yeah.
We're doing it. We are teaching everybody to stand up, know that they have the power, empower themselves to let it begin with me. That's our goal, is just let it begin with me. I do have, in 12-step recovery, we have a hula hoop around us. We have control over what's in that hula hoop. So we can all make a difference right in our own backyard. So let it start there. And I know that seems so simple and cliche, but it's really powerful. It really is powerful. So we don't want don't, not, or no. Make the choices that feel good for you. Stand up for what you believe in. No longer be a people pleaser to let other people, especially men, control you. Right? I mean, that's it. So,
and advocate for those who can't advocate for them.
Yeah. Thank you for remembering that too, Morgan. Yeah. Just be a role model yourself. do the right thing all the time. So with that, it's just such a privilege and an honor to be here with my fellow Lemonettes and to be here for all of our listeners to present something maybe slightly different than what we normally do, but it's a very important topic. And just keep going, keep moving forward, and keep believing that you do have the power to change the world. We all do.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, remember, your transformation is our greatest joy. So keep listening. We love you, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, everyone.